One moment, live on Facebook. Okay, I think we're being live streamed now. Great. Welcome everyone to our next installment of Climate Conversations. This is a series of dialogues with FXB Climate Advocates from around the world to learn about their climate action initiatives and how climate change impacts their communities. So today I'm very honored to be with Christa Ella. So Christa Ella, please introduce yourself. Tell us about where you're from and a little bit about you.
My name is Christa Ella. I'm 18 years old. I'm from Burundi in East Africa, and I am currently going to graduate and attend college this year. And yes, I also work I'm also an advocate for climate change. I work with a club that I created at my school, which is a club that advocates for the climate, but also educate people around the community of the school.
Thank you so much for that great introduction. Can you tell us a little bit about the community where you grew up, and if you've noticed if climate change has impacted your community at all, or more broadly in Burundi?
Yes, climate change has impacted a lot. So for example, this year, the summer has been longer than it used to. So which means that crops couldn't grow really well, and a lot of Burundians depend on agriculture. And there has been a lot of hunger and a lot of sickness regarding to less nutrition. But also there has been a lot more floods than usually. And in the community around me, mostly, I grew up seeing our main lake, which is the Lake Tanganyika, which is also the main source of water for most of the Burundians. And I grew up before, when I was little, it was still clean. But now when I go back and look at it, it's really not clean, and it really affects the people who live around the lake, because they have to drink really not clean water, which affects a lot their health. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Growing up, did you learn about climate change or the environment, like in school, maybe in basic school or primary school?
In Burundi, climate change is included in one of the classes, especially when you're in high school. That's when you start to learn about climate, but it's mainly they talk about the chemistry and the physics that is connected to it, but you don't actually learn how to protect or get really interested or into protecting the environment. Yes, I did learn about the climate change in school, but I only started getting interested when I attended a program, which was small advocates like me today who were trying to get young people involved. And that's when I got to learn actually that we needed to protect the environment, and started getting involved. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the school, the high school you attend. This is kind of a special school in the community where the high school is.
So in the community, a lot of people don't know anything about the environment. They don't know that climate change exists. So the community around the school is really hard to work with, because they have no knowledge or anything. They don't know anything about the climate change. So basically, in that community, what they do is they burn a lot of forests and cut trees, even though it's not allowed for them to survive. They have to cut trees and burn the forest in order to grow crops. So that's what I'm also working with my club, is to try to get them to know about the climate change and everything about it and how we should get to protect it because it affects us all, yes.
So how did you get the idea to start the club, and was it hard to get other students involved, and what kind of activities or projects does your club do?
Since the high school that I'm currently in now does promote a lot climate change and getting to know everything about the environment, it wasn't that hard to get other students involved, which I really liked. And our club works on making trash bins, carton trash bins to put in the roads because roads are really dirty, and there are a lot of trash which will end up in the lake. So we collect that. We have some volunteer times when we also invite people who are not in the club who wants to help, and even people around the community to gather up the trash and get them somewhere safe or somewhere they should be. And we also are planning to do more education time with young children like us, because there is another high school of the community close to us. So we were having an idea of getting to talk with the other students around us and getting them to know about the environment and climate change.
That's amazing. Those are such great initiatives. Do you learn, tell me about your high school. Are you learning about climate change and the environment in high school?
Yes, I am learning about it, and it also helps me to share it with, because I'm a senior in the school, it also gives me opportunity to share it with young students who are coming up each year, so they get to learn also about the environment. As also we get to do to attend meetings with some organizations that want to work with the school about the environment. So we get to learn more about the environment. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about participating in the FXB Climate Advocates program. What was the experience like for you, and what did you walk away with from the program?
So it was a really grateful experience, a really great experience for me. I got to learn a lot of things that I didn't know about, such as the environmental policy, which I also want to work with in the future into getting to know more about that better. Yes, and the environmental justice and all of that. I really loved learning about it and how we should protect our environment more. I get to learn from other young people like me across the globe and their ideas and projects. Yes, I got to hear a lot of ideas that I never think of or try to consider. So I'm really glad that I participated in the FXB Climate Advocates program.
Thank you. And I'm curious, you mentioned environmental policy. What do you think should be priority policy to address climate change in Burundi and globally for elected officials? What do you think should elected officials focus on when it comes to climate policy?
I think that they should really focus on supporting like more small organizations or more people who are trying to advocate for the program, because actually the government is not promoting programs or advocates who wants to change what's here in our country. So I feel like the government should really focus into getting a lot of more youth educated about the environment, because in many parts of Burundi, people don't know about the environment, climate change, or environmental justice. So I feel like the government should really focus on getting youth educated.
Thank you. What is environmental justice to you? Can you tell me a little bit about what you define as environmental justice?
Environmental justice for me is where people should also feel like they can advocate if they see something that is wrong in their community. For example, in some places in Burundi, there is trash put in there, and it really affects the health of the people. But they do not get the opportunity to advocate and say a word of advocating against what is happening. So I really feel like environmental justice is something that needs to be really worked on in Burundi because it is not implemented, and people even don't know that they can actually advocate for themselves and protect their community against climate change or something that may cause harm to the community. Yes.
That's a great example. So now that you're about to graduate from high school, what is your outlook on your future? What do you want to study? What kind of impact do you want to have? What are your next steps after you graduate high school?
So my plan is to study nutrition science, since I'm really interested in nutrition, but also I want to focus on the environment, since nutrition and the environment are really connected to each other. Yes, and also the impact I want to have is especially on Burundi. I want to start with Burundi. I want to help with climate change resistance regarding food and nutrition, because a lot of people are really dying from hunger and malnutrition. And that's my plan. Yes, and I'm actually looking for studying college overseas in a place where I haven't been before, so that I can get to learn more and meet different people and get other different perspectives on the environment. Yes.
You're very confident and outspoken. What advice would you give to maybe young people who are just starting to do climate activism and they feel nervous or hesitant or insecure that they're too young, they don't have the skills? What advice would you give them to get started?
So I feel like in the first place, they're scared because maybe they don't have any reference in their country. They haven't seen maybe somebody close to them doing it before. So I feel like they should try to look up to people who already started it and getting inspired from them. But also I would encourage them to start even with a small action, because me also, I was scared. I was like, I can't do anything, or I can't help with anything. But with the program that I got to participate in, and also the FXB Climate Advocates, I got to have the courage to start, because every action counts, even the small one. So I would encourage them to start with small ones and then have greater ambitions and start with big projects. Yes.
Thank you. Do you have any mentors or people who have inspired or supported you in your journey?
Yes, there is a Burundian advocate who works with art. She tries to take out a plant called hyacinth, which is really overtaking our lake, and she turns that into really beautiful arts and sell them even abroad, which also help her financially, but also is in the country. So I was really inspired by her, and I got to visit her studio and what she does. So yes.
That's incredible. Thank you. So here in the United States, most people don't know very much about Burundi. Can you share a little bit about Burundi culture, some really amazing things about Burundi culture or the country that you want people to know who, might have never visited or know much about it?
Burundi is a very small country, but it has beautiful culture, because especially with new people or guests, in one of our tradition is to be really welcoming to any kind of guests. And a lot of tourists say that Burundians love laughing. That's because they want to welcome everybody. But the most exciting thing in Burundi is traditional drum, which a lot of people like, but also the lake has a very beautiful site and a lot of nature and mountains too, who are really beautiful, and waterfalls. Yes.
Thank you. And so what do you think, what would be your message to like maybe other young people in Burundi to help preserve this really beautiful natural environment? What would you say to mobilize other young people who may be watching this to get started in Burundi and around the world?
I would tell them first to actually understand how precious our nature is and how it is keeping Burundi alive. Because plants, as we know, plants help us decrease carbon dioxide. So I would tell them to really cherish the nature, but also start with also protecting animals, because they are also harmed in the country, and we don't have that much animals around anymore, especially in forests. So I would encourage everybody to start really cherishing our nature and seeing its importance, so that they can start with that and protect our environment.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really powerful message that applies globally. So what's the next project or activity that the Environmental Club will lead like in the next week or two? What's on the calendar?
So my plan with my club is to try to move actually, because we do have some education programs. We try to, it's only 2 days or 3 days. We go to visit schools and talk about the climate change and the environment with them, but we also create some small time where we can be together and do something. So our plan was to move from our province, which is Burundi. There are 17 provinces in our country. So we were trying to move to try working with other students from other provinces, starting with Bujumbura, which is the main capital of our country. Yes.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your experiences. I'm very inspired, and congratulations on the incredible work you're doing. So of course, you know, as an alumni, we'll continue to support you and connect you to resources. And of course, just keep us posted on any achievements or any guidance or that you may need. This was really informative and wonderful. Thank you so much, Christa Ella, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.